Good morning, guys. How are you? Happy Monday. Welcome to week 7 of second grade with Miss Bland. Super excited that you're here. I hope that this video finds you well. We missed you in Zoom this morning. We had a very small group, but life happens. Miss Bland knows all too well how that happens. So I'm super excited that you still have these videos and things that you can go to as a reference. So please, moms, dads, and everyone, never feel bad or upset if you have to do life. Life is life. So thank you for always letting me know. I do mark those so you're not absent. I know that you have an excused reason. So please continue to let me know of those absences. It is Monday. It is the 28th day of September, and we're going to start our lesson right away. So here we go. I hope that you had a great weekend. Maybe you did something fun. Remember, if you like to share those things with me, you can have mom or dad send them in Dojo. You can send me emails, and I'll be sure to share them with the group, or you can just tell me that you just wanted me to know. Of course, make sure you read all the way through so that you know what your attendance goal for today is for what you need to get to me. Remember, our rules for virtual learning is a little different for videos. The biggies are to act like you're at school, stay in your seat, finish the video, finish your work. Work through it at an even pace. Remember to listen. I talk fast sometimes, so you got to make sure you try to catch what I'm saying. Remember that if you're eating, not near our keyboards, and we keep tops on water bottles. This week, Miss Vester has a new lesson for us, and Miss Vester's lesson is on feelings. And oh my goodness, we all have feelings. And she wants us to be able to define our feelings. What are our feelings, and when are some times that we feel that way? So look at Miss Vester. She gave us some examples of some of her feelings: angry and scared and happy and even sad. And she tells us some of the other words we can use to show how we feel about them. If we're angry, we might feel threatened or disgusted or frustrated or jealous or even resentful. And when we're happy, we have different feelings as well. So look at her face. You can tell how someone feels a lot of time by their face. Miss Bland is huge about wearing her expressions on her face. And sometimes Mr. Bland even has to say, fix your face, because I like to show things. So we took that to start with one of our emotions, which was happy. And we looked at happy, and we decided we were going to use our 4 of our 5W questions from reading to talk about being happy. So in the first page of your new notebook, hopefully you did pick up your new red notebook. If by some chance the TAs did not give you a red notebook when you came, then please let me know, and I will try my best to get one to you this week, or you can pick it up on Friday with your next packet. So happy. We wrote down who, where, when, and what. And Miss Bland had the boys and girls listen to mine, and then I let them do their own. So here's where we were. I said, who makes me happy? My mama. My mama definitely always makes me happy. Even when I feel bad, she makes it better. Where I love to be happy is at the beach. The beach is somewhere that I'm happy. When I'm happy on Christmas. I love Christmas. I love Christmas trees, Christmas decorations. I love family time. I love Jesus. I love Christmas. So Christmas is definitely a win for me for when I'm happy. And what makes me happy? Ice cream. Butter pecan literally makes me happy. Cookie and cream makes me peaceful. So I love ice cream. Strawberry makes me happy. Milkshakes make me happy. I love ice cream in general. So those are my answers. Ms. Bland wants you to pause here and choose your answers. So you're copying down everything that I have in black, everything that's in black, you will write, and then you will choose answers to go in your notebook for the things that make you happy. Pause here to complete. Great, you're back, which means you've completed that part of our assignment. I hope you wrote down things that help me better understand what makes you happy. So in your packet, you'll notice your cover this week is blue. Ms. Bland didn't turn hers blue yet. She just copied the one before it turned blue and it was just white. You've got 12 new Letterland words. You've got vocabulary words for this week. There are 8 of them. We are still working in Eureka Math Module 3, which is place value. And you have 2 new stories this week that are expository text. Eagles and Eaglettes is where we will start today. Remember that if you're reading a book in Zoom, in Epic, then you need to make sure you color a gumball. So Ms. Bland will know you read it, and I can check your gumballs against what my report says, because that data comes to me too. On the back of the blue sheet this week, you'll notice there is not a fluency passage. Yay! I know that's what some of you said. But this week instead, we're doing something called a cold read, which means when you read it on Seesaw, that will be the first time you've seen it. It's a good judge for Miss Bland about your reading skills and how they're going. Sometimes we got to stretch those brain muscles, and doing cold reads is one of those times. So we want to make sure you don't read it in the out like a robot. And we want to make sure that you read with expression, that you don't sound like a robot and then it sounds smooth. We're not going to sing it, but we are going to read it. Letterland, of course, is going to make us better readers, writers, and spellers. And this week for Letterland, we have 12 new words. We have these 12 words, and these 12 words have two patterns for this week. The first pattern you find in the word use, excuse, cube, and include, and they deal with the long U sound. And we know that SU for E makes that long U say its name, which is you. The rest of our words deal with the G sound that we call a soft G. And soft G sounds just like a J. Age, badge, huge, page, edge, dodge, bridge, fudge. I hear the J sound in each of my words, but I see the letter G. This week for Seesaw, you will do say it, spell it, write it. Make sure you complete that. And it's reading time. We have a brand new story in our reading book, but here's the catch. In our reading book, we are going to be skipping some pages. So you're going to skip over to page 146. That's where our story is going to start this week, is on 146. So you're going to have to skip around a little bit and get to 146. All right, on 146. It's coming, slowly but surely. On 146, it tells you the topic of our new unit. It's about animals, their babies, and their parents. It's going to be about baby animals. How cool is that? Miss Bland loves animals. We're going to talk about offsprings and their parents. So when you look, we find our new 8 vocabulary words: adult, alive, covered, fur, giant, groom, mammal, and offspring. Those are our 8 new words for this week. So the first thing the boys and girls did this morning was they took the time to look inside their text and find for me each spelling word. I've lost it. Oh my. They looked inside of the story on their study guide, which is in the, there we go, in the first page of your packet. They went through the text and they found the page numbers for each of their vocabulary words. You will need to do the same. Miss Bland has given you the first 4, but then they found the second 4 on their own. Remember in our stories that our vocabulary words are in yellow boxes. You may pause here to find all 8 words. Great, I'm glad you found them. Now, let's talk about our text. Our text is going to be expository. It's going to give us facts about a topic, and it's going to include some text features like photographs, captions, and even some charts to help us understand more about these eagles and eaglettes. So let's get started. Make sure that you have your study guide. One thing before we start is there is a typo. At the top of the page, it says 135, 134, and 135. If you will mark that out, you can put 151 because that is the page it's on, and change that 135 to 151. We are going to read our story, and then you are going to have the chance to go back and answer each of your questions.
Genre, expository text, eagles and eaglets. Bald eagles are birds. The baby birds or offspring are called eaglets. Let's read about how eaglets are like their parents. It's nesting time. All birds lay eggs. Bald eagles build their nests in the tops of trees so the eggs will be safe. Their nests are built of sticks and grass. They add on to their nests each year. They can become huge. These giant nests can be as large as 9 feet across. That's bigger than your bed. The mother eagle lays from 1 to 3 eggs. She sits on her eggs until they hatch. Then both parents watch over the nest.
I hope you're following along in your book. Use your fingers.
Proud parents. At first, the eaglets are helpless. They cannot walk. They need their parents for food. They also cannot see well. Birds are not mammals. They do not have milk to feed their young. They hunt for food. Eaglets also need their parents for safety. Eaglets grow up. Bald eagles use their sharp eyes to hunt. They use their strong wings to fly fast. They also use their claws and beak to catch fish. Young eaglets must learn all these things. Then they can live on their own. The eagles must bring food to the eaglets. Unlike mammals, birds have feathers, not fur. An eaglet is born covered with soft gray down. It cannot fly until it grows dark feathers like its parents. The eaglet stays near the nest until its wings grow strong. That takes about 5 months. Diagram, bald eagle. Diagram labels, powerful eyes. Dark feathers on body and wings. Hooked yellow beak. White tail feathers. Long claws.
So now we've seen the parts of the eagle. We talked about some other things that have gone on with this eagle. Let's keep going and find out what happens when he gets older.
An eaglet becomes an adult when it has learned to do all the things its parents do. This takes about 5 years. Bald eagles can stay alive for up to 30 years. The bald eagle soars. The feathers on its huge wings spread out like fingers.
Ooh, his wings are like fingers. Look at there. Look at the ends of his wings. That's cool.
Bald eagles soar. Once it learns to fly, the bald eagle can soar for hours. The bald eagle must take good care of its feathers. It uses its beak to groom itself. It must keep its feathers clean. Can you believe this powerful eagle began life as a helpless baby?
So we went from that eagle being that helpless baby to being this big, amazing animal. So if you will go through and look with me on your study guide page, we will talk about that bald eagle. Now, when we look at the first question, it says we are going to use the first paragraph as an introduction. It tells you what the story is mostly about. And it says fill out the graphic organizer with details about the eagle's eggs. So Ms. Bland and your friends this morning, we did go through and talk about the eagle and his eggs. So when you look, we found in our text the eagle. So you have an option of looking here at our first page where it talks about his eggs and finding your 3 examples. The 3 examples that your classmates chose are listed. You may choose either to complete the front. Be sure they come from the story. There's only about 2 little differences you may choose from what your classmates chose. So their answers are also very acceptable. They're fine. The bottom question says a comparison. We're comparing 2 things, and it helps you visualize information. What 2 things did they compare in paragraph 2? Well, in paragraph 2, this was paragraph 2, and it told us that that eagle's nest is giant, and it compared it to something after that word giant. Continue reading from the word giant and tell me what it was compared to. If you said a bed, you were right. Make sure you get that question down. Pause here to fill in your study guide. The bottom part of your study guide talks about nonfiction text features, photographs, captions, and even labels. And we see all of those in our story. Photographs, captions, and labels. We see all of those in our text. And it tells us we want to know how many headings are on page 152. Well, Ms. Bland found there was a heading called Proud Parents, it's bigger, it's bold, it's at the top before a paragraph of information. There's one. Second one I found says eaglets grow up. It's big, it's bold, it's before some important information. That's 2. So we found 2 headings. So we write the number 2 inside that box for the answer. And it says, what information does the caption on page 152 give you? Look at that picture on 152. It tells us how our eagle babies get what? That's right, how they get food. Fill in that part. Pause here to make sure the front of your study guide is complete. Now flip it over and let's look at the bottom, at the back. At the top, you're going to complete that as part of your homework assignment. Your offline time will be used to complete that first question. Describe how eaglets depend on their parents. Compare and contrast. Remember that box in the middle is how they are the same. How long do eaglets before they live? How long do eagles live? That's part of us having to know. And what does an eagle groom its feathers? Why do they groom their feathers? Why is that important? You'll need to answer that one as well. But look down at the bottom. We're dealing this week with multi-meaning words, and our first experience with them is using them in these sentences. It says they add on to their nest. Well, when we think about adding, we think of 2 plus 2, but it means we're just going to put on more. Same word, different meaning. The second sentence says they both watch. Their parents watch the nest. Well, when we think of a watch, it may like be the watch on my arm. It helps me tell time, but it's not. It means to look at something. And the last one says they use their strong wings to fly fast. And if we want to fly, then we're going to use our wings. We're not going to be talking about that creature that likes to bother us when we're trying to eat outside at a cookout. He's just worrisome. So we have to make sure we know the difference in word meanings. And we'll deal with those all week. So just make sure you get these down for today. Finishing the rest of your study guide is your responsibility. You may do it now, or you may work on it later on, and you may let the video continue. That is your choice. If you need a stretch break of any type, I ask that you do take that break now. As we continue on with math, you'll need to pause here because Ms. Bland will indeed keep going. All right, it's math time. For math today, we are doing some great review. We took some notes inside of our notebook to just remind us of how important place value is. So we started here. We started off by talking about the 3 ways that we've been working with place value thus far. And one of the first ways was being able to take a number and add on with 10s and 1s in order to get to the next number. We talked about that our numbers started off last week very small, but that this week our numbers would be much bigger. So we walked through the process of how our numbers increased. Copy these notes down to make sure you have them. We talked about that if I start off with 65 and went to 94, it was a simple process. I added 10s and 1s. When I went from 143 to 225, I still just used 10s and 1s. But when my numbers increased, the drawing all those 10s would take me forever. And it was very necessary to draw hundreds as well. So be sure you copy this down. Pause here to do so inside your notebook. The second part we talked about was being able to look at the hundreds, 10s, and 1s when they're not all nice and neat. When the numbers are mixed up, I've got 100s and then some 1s and then some 10s and then some more 100s. So they're not nice and neat where all the 100s are together and all the 10s are together and all the 1s are together. They're spread out a little different. So we went through and did 3 examples of those. Then we talked about that we've been able to count up by 1s until we get to a number that ends in 0. And then being able to count on from there. It's a little different than any way Ms. Bland has taught it before, but Eureka says it's going to build you some brain muscles. And remember, Ms. Bland wants to do whatever she can to help you build those brain muscles. So we went 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Once I got to 50, I was at a number that ended in 0. 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. We talked about that we knew this couldn't be 51 because that would be 51. 52, 53, 90? I don't think so. So you're always going to have to look at where you are. We talked about making sure we sometimes count in our heads and touch the boxes with our eraser before we just start writing answers to make sure we have enough lines and that our answers will be correct. So we did 2 examples of that. Pause here to copy this down inside your notebook as well. All right, great job. This week in science, which is the next page in your packet is a passage about science, about sound. What is sound? And sound will be one of our focuses for this week. So we're excited to have you work on looking at that passage. Once you look at the passage, there will be some questions in Seesaw that you will need to answer. Be sure that you answer each of those to the best of your ability. So what are you working on today for Miss Bland? I'm so glad you asked. In Seesaw, there will be spelling, math, and there will be story questions, sorry, not story, passage questions about sound. You'll need to do those. Remember to visit the Bailey website and do your lesson for the day for specials with Mr. D, Miss Reason, or Miss Ellington. Remember that if you're watching this video, you need to submit to Miss Bland either your story questions or your math sheet so that you may be counted present for doing those activities for today. You are a super bunch of smart cookies, and Miss Bland could not ask for better. In Dojo, Miss Bland has shared with your parents everything that is due today, and I love being your teacher because you're just such smart cookies. So as we continue to work hard and do everything we need to do, I thank you so much for being amazing. So you have Seesaw work, you have packet work, and you've got stuff to do. So Miss Bland won't hold you any longer. But just remember, if you need something, let me know, and have Mom and Dad check Dojo in order to know exactly what you need. If you have questions, as always, feel free to ask. I hope you have a great day. And remember, tomorrow is remote day, so there will be no Zoom. I'll see you on Wednesday morning. Have a great one.